Mr. TJ Shaheen, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Bradley. It's been a long time coming back to Fort Worth and Flower Mound, Texas. This is great here, man. I love the view. It's been awesome, and thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're here. Have you bought any real estate? Now's the time to get in. Texas, it's a big state. Think about it.
Well, listen, Texas is a big state. New Jersey, is the most dense state in the union.
Is this true?
It is true. And Texas is also, second behind Alaska. I don't know if you have a problem with that, but Alaska is basically holds the belt on both of us.
This is true.
We're the densest. You're second in as far as biggest, but yeah, it's a little tidbit. I know you like to hit me with tidbits. I just thought I'd drop them with you.
And you did. Well done. All right, we're here talking about Boiler Room. Question for you. Scale of 0 to 100. 100, I'm going to combine them. 100 points is Godfather 1 and Godfather 2 smashed into one. Cinematic excellence. All right? This is my scoring system. I'm forcing it upon you. 0, there's a movie called Mother with an exclamation point. Came out maybe 6 or 7 years ago. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm going to give that a 0. Okay. Where would you put Boiler Room as a movie overall? How many points there on my scale?
I'd say 60.
60?
Yeah.
That feels right. I was going to go like 64. Now, as a sales movie, different criteria. I got Glenn Ross as, 100. Okay. There's no real 0. There's only like really 15, 16 really good sales movies. I think this is a really good sales movie. Would you agree?
I think it's a good sales movie. I think Glenn Ross is a good sales movie. And there's a lot of similarities between the two. So Glenn Ross for me is always going to be my number one. Yeah. And this could be, 2, 3, maybe the sixth man coming off the bench.
Okay.
Thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
When we talked about doing this podcast, I said, you got to select a movie. You selected a couple movies that I rejected out of hand on principle. Let's talk about them briefly. The number one movie that you wanted to talk about, trying to convince me was a sales movie, was what?
It wasn't Mother. That's for sure. With the exclamation point.
Correct.
But I sent you a text or an email with several exclamation points that said it has to be American Psycho.
Correct.
If not, you're not aware of it, then go to option 2, which would be Tropic Thunder. Yes.
Correct.
American
I did
Psycho.
say that,
for the record, yes.
Yes. I hate to admit this. I went down a rabbit hole. I watched like the first half of the movie again, trying to come around to your perspective. Utter failure. Unable to do so. You wanted American Psycho, couldn't do it. Tropic Thunder was your backup. I believe Fletch, which I found intriguing because I do think good salespeople, and in particular, the prospecting, the craft of prospecting is an investigation. So on a long enough timeline, I might come around to Fletch. I do love Fletch. Never thought of it as a sales movie. Maybe. Was there a fourth one? I feel like there's another fourth bad option that I shut down.
Yeah, there was, there was a fourth one. It was that Naked Gun, Airplane, all those kind of, there's all little things you can carve out, but then you're getting into series, right? It's just not one. There's Airplane 1, there's Airplane 2. It's like Caddyshack, so... Yeah, so what happens, those movies are so great, Bradley, that they feel a need to make another one, not like Mother with the exclamation point.
Correct. So I felt like when I said, hey, select a sales movie, you just, in your mind, omitted sales. And we're like, let's just talk movies. It'd be great to talk Airplane with you. I'd say it could be. We're not going to do that here. Okay. All right. Yeah. So Boiler Room. You gave it a 60. I gave it a 64 overall. I would put it into the 90s in a sales movie perspective. We're going to focus on 4 scenes. Okay. Maybe give a quick overview on an audio version of the trailer. Give the audience, if they're not familiar with Boiler Room, what's it about?
So basically it's about a pump and dump firm that is run really fictitiously. And they're hiring brokers in some sort of chop shop in a warehouse in Long Island. They're out there trying to compel innocent people to buy and trade. They invest money with them, they pump up the stock, and then they shed it and dump it, and they lose all the money. They make money on the commissions, and at the end of the day, the FBI gets on to them, and we all know how that ends. It happened a lot in our era, so it was a movie that was of value for sure at the time, and it is a good movie. It's from 2000. That year, and it says a lot. A lot of good actors are in it. So no, it was good. It was an enjoyable movie for sure.
Yeah, Giovanni Ribisi, Vin Diesel, Ben Affleck has just some fantastic scenes. He kind of steals the show with a few of these scenes. One that we're going to start with. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's these guys who are doing hard sale, single call closes on crappy stocks that are really for the benefit of the owner of this firm. JT Marlin sounds absurdly similar to JP Morgan, but is not. So, all right, that's a segue. Lots of really good sales scenes. We're going to focus on 4 here. So let's run the first clip now.
I'm not here to waste your time, okay? And I certainly hope you're not here to waste mine. So I'm going to keep this short. Become an employee of this firm, you will make your first $1 million within 3 years, okay? I'm going to repeat that. You will make $1 million within 3 years of your first day of employment at JT Marlin. There is no question as to whether or not you'll become a millionaire working here. The only question is how many times over. You think I'm joking? I am not joking. I am a millionaire. It's a weird thing to hear, right? I'll tell you, it's a weird thing to say. I am a millionaire. I guess how old I am. 27. You know what that makes me here? A senior citizen. This firm is entirely comprised of people your age, not mine. Lucky for me, I happen to be very good at my job, or I'd be out of one. You guys are the new blood. You're gonna go home with the Kesef. You are the future big swinging of this firm. Now, y'all look money hungry, and that's good. Anybody tells you money's the root of all evil doesn't have any. They say money can't buy happiness. Look at the smile on my face. Ear to ear, baby. You want details? Fine. I drive a Ferrari, 355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required. You are required to work your ass off at this firm. We want winners here, not pikers. A piker walks at the bell. Piker asks how much vacation time you get in the first year. Vacation time? People come and work at this firm for one reason, to become filthy rich. That's it. We're not here to make friends. We're not saving manatees here, guys. You want vacation time? Go teach 3rd grade public school. Okay. First 3 months at the firm are as a trainee. You make $150 a week. After you're done training, you take the Series 7. You pass that, you become a junior broker, and you're opening accounts for your team leader. You open 40 accounts, you start working for yourself. Sky's the limit. Word or two about being a trainee, your friends, your parents, the other brokers, whoever, they're going to give you about it. It's true. $150 a week, not a lot of money, but pay them no mind. You need to learn this business, and this is the time to do it. Once you pass the test, none of that's going to matter. Your friends are They tell me you made 25 grand last month, they're not going to believe you. Them. Them. Parents don't like the life you lead? You, Mom and Dad. See how it feels when you're making their Lexus payments. Now go home and think about it. Think about whether or not this is really for you. If you decide it isn't, listen, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's not for everyone. Thanks. But if you really want this, you call me on Monday and we'll talk. Just don't waste my time.
All right, so in this scene, TJ, Ben Affleck comes in hot. This is the group interview, fires a couple people right off the bat. What stands out for you in this scene?
You know, for me, again, there were a lot of similarities to that other movie we were talking about before. But if I'm just going to focus on this scene right here, Ben Affleck comes in. You don't know after watching the movie if he is really just kind of like they are, and the trainers that he's training are more like the people that they're trying to sell. That's kind of like on a higher level. But for Ben Affleck in that moment, in that spot, he's basically just trying to call these guys out and say, look, this is what you're going to get. It's bang, bang, bang. You know, you want vacation? Don't ask about vacation. Pikers ask about vacation. Pikers look at the clock when it's 5 p.m. They're out. That's not what we're hiring. So if that's not what you want, get out. We're not hiring guys with Series 7s. You know, for you know, that we're training for that. So that's what it's all about. And basically he's just trying to scare the living what out of these guys to let them know you're in for a whole hell of a storm, for lack of a better term, if you do come on. And oh, by the way, call me Monday if you're still interested.
Yeah, that quote he says, you want vacation time? Go teach third grade public school, right? Well, I have memorized this, the opening here. This is actually part of our Behind Your Back podcast intro, right? This is the deal. I'm not here to waste your time, and I can only hope you're not here to waste mine. So I'm going to keep this short. That's how he starts. When I hear this, I often think of this phrase that I learned from Dr. Pat Surman, runs the construction management program at Texas A&M. He's a military guy. They have a military acronym called BLUF, B-L-U-F, bottom line up front. And I think this mentality, for being a salesperson myself, who has no problem running his own mouth, how are we being really succinct and value other people's time? And I think if more people can take this mindset of, if I have a meeting with TJ Shaheen, he's a busy dude, I'm going to come in, I've got a 30-minute meeting, my goal is to get out in 25. Why? I value your time, I value mine. I'm going to keep this short. I really love that, and it's always kind of playing in my mind. And if I'm being honest, I always do listen to the intro, even though I know exactly what it's going to say, to our own podcast,
right?
Because I think it's important.
Yeah, and it's so true. And I remember my first public speaking class in school, and one of the things that we learned was you have 30 seconds to capture an audience when you're trying to go up and give a speech on whatever. And that was what, 35, 40 years ago, and
right.
And here we are talking about someone's going to a class to learn about how to capture your audience, but that's what it really is. You have 30 seconds to catch an audience. If not, you lost them. I don't care if you're in a sales meeting, if you're interviewing for a job. That's really what you have, because after that, and for me and you, we have similar personalities. I'm here now. 2 seconds from now, I'm somewhere else. So you got to catch me in 3 seconds. So that's what it is. And I have new vendors come in, maybe trying to sell a product or a line. It's the same thing. Did you make an appointment? No. Okay, strike one. Number two, you've lost me. You're at 32 seconds, so this is over. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you got to be succinct for sure.
Well, somebody had mentioned this, which I find fascinating, and I listen to music differently now, especially the pop 40 stuff my kids listen to, is that in the culture, music, reflecting the change in mindset and attitude, if you've noticed, there used to be a standard setup for music, and the chorus would come in normally about 45 a minute in. You'd hear the chorus, you're going to hear it 3 times. Now, if you've noticed, the chorus comes first. Song comes on, bam, they're going to hit you with a catchy jingle. And I'm sure, right, it's a reflection of, it used to be, hey, you got 30 seconds, whatever. Now, you've got a few seconds. What are you doing to get me right off the bat? And from a sales perspective, planning that out. Oftentimes we will coach sales professionals prior to going to a meeting and say, okay, what are you going to open? What's the first question? I don't know. I gotta feel it out. I gotta see what happens. See what's on the shelf. I'm like, false. Yeah, maybe you have 2 options and you have some flexibility, but figure out what you're going to say. Don't shoot from the hip. That's stupid.
It's so true. And I think it is a whole nother level and a whole nother dynamic when you're trying to, say, prospect with emails. I get 30,000 emails a day. I would say 29,900 are just spam emails. So maybe I got to do a better job with my filter box. But
I think so.
All the subjects are always something different. And all of a sudden one came up and said, Ruth's Chris? ? I'm like, got me. I open it up because you never know, right? I'm like, maybe it's a friend. I don't know. Like, who the hell would invite me out to Ruth's Chris? But it was some guy out in California just trying to sell whatever he was selling. And so, yeah, so there's audible, right? So verbal, that's what we're speaking about. But then there's literally reading. How are you going to catch that person's eye? People are texting now. They find a way to get your cell numbers. Email, which we just spoke about. So it's a craft, and if you're good at it, I believe you can really have good success with it. But you cannot go in blind. You can't be uneducated, because if you do, you're wasting our time. And like Ben Affleck said, don't waste my time. Yeah.
The other thing he does here well that I think we do a really poor job in our industry is he shows the career path very succinctly, like 150 words. Your first 6 months at the firm as a trainee, you make $150 a week. After you're done training, you take the Series 7 test. When you pass, you become a junior broker. After you open 40 accounts, you begin working for yourself. Sky's the limit. Done. You put on a single sheet of paper, few words, you throw some illustrations. Before you know it, you have a 1-page career trajectory roadmap, right? And I think too often will talk to young folks, especially folks who leave during exit interview. They're like, I didn't know really where I was. They stuffed me behind the sales counter, told me I had to learn the business. Right. How long is that going to take? 3 months, 3 years, 30 years? I don't know. And so I think he does a real good job of that.
It is, but as leaders like we are, and with employees, you're selling yourself short. It's such an extrinsic point of view where it's just all about material. I think the leader of the firm, Michael, says at one point, go out, buy a house, buy a car, go put yourself in debt. You'll be a millionaire by the end of the month. These guys are going like maniacs. They're like, yeah, this is awesome. Let's do it. But is that what it's all about? Is it all about the money? It's not. And we know that because it doesn't work. When you drill down to your employees, they want more than that. They want to feel competent. They want to feel some sort of autonomy. They want to feel like they're part of something. And that's where we can get into the whole culture part of the movie too, which you can tell. It's you watch that movie and as a business owner and having employees that we have at our company, it actually makes me cringe a little bit.
Yeah.